announcer opened the door behind him to check on him, inadvertently pushing him off the ledge, and you see this dummy, which is technically him, falling off the Space Needle. And he describes that's one of the stunts where the wind pushed the dummy into the freeway overpass, and he saw from below, like almost hitting a car.
Yeah, causing a freaking car accident. Yo, everybody, what's up? Welcome to Homegrown-Podcast. You know who it is, your boy Jamora McLean.
And Raphael Anthony. Today's an awesome week, so we're definitely excited to get started. How was your week, man?
It was good, man. Chillaxing, relaxing. I had a show at the Hollywood Improv last week. Did a few little dizzles and dazzles. I probably got a new manager, but we're going to see how that go.
Oh, yeah? Sweet, man. I also saw you might be having a show in San Diego.
Yeah, out in the Gaslamp District. If you're out in San Diego, holla at your boy. I'm going to be out there January 30th. It's a place called Madhouse Comedy Club, right there downtown San Diego.
Oh, sweet. And also on my end, I might be hosting and showing my art at an art and music show here in Long Beach at the Kesera Bar in February. So fingers crossed. I hope that happens. We're still working out the details, but you'll definitely hear about it here once that takes place.
Fancy.
So this week we talk about an amazing American comedy legend. We talk about Stuart Robert Einstein, also known as Bob Einstein. You know him.
Also known as Super Dave. Rest in peace. He just died this month.
Yeah, and definitely a big legend. He was known as a comedy writer, a character actor, and you kind of have to get a sense of his style. He was a showman for sure.
Oh, yeah.
His technique was really about delivering a line to try to capture the audience and make them laugh, or sometimes baiting them along to make you go, is he really saying what I think he's saying? And then just give you a punchline at the end.
Yeah. So, it seemed like he never got out of character. He was always the same.
He was born in November 20th, 1942, and as we learned, he comes from a big line of entertainers.
Yeah, his dad is actually was a comedian's comedian. His pops was Harry Einstein. He was a radio comedian based on Al Jolson. A lot of the comedians before TV, took over as the main medium. But he's like super Hollywood. Like his dad and his mom. His mom was an actress too, so he comes from a show business family. Yeah. And his little brother is actually Albert Brooks.
Oh yeah.
Albert Brooks changed his name at 19, but his real name is Albert Einstein. So his brother's a comedian, actor. You would know Albert Brooks as the voice of Nemo's dad on Finding Nemo.
Oh, yeah? I didn't know that.
That's Albert Brooks.
Yeah, what's so awesome about Bob Einstein is that he definitely did a lot of the behind the scenes work. He was a producer of the Red Fox show. Mm-hmm. Also a producer of another Red Fox show, like an all-star show.
Yeah, the Red Fox special.
Yeah, he won an Emmy because he was a writer with Steve Martin at the Smothers Brothers, where he definitely got his big break. And he was also a comedy writer for other shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm. That was a big one that happened recently.
Oh yeah, that's how the later generation kind of came to know him from Curb Your Enthusiasm, and also a show called Arrested Development.
Yes,
and
huge shows, to be honest with you. Those are huge shows.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about post-Seinfeld era, so for a comedy writer like him to come in and compete to the airwaves and still get the audience that he did, it's pretty huge. It's pretty awesome. I want to give you guys a sense of his style because it's almost like he's playing himself in every character, but he delivers his lines so well. He just has really great comedy timing. There's a Curb the Enthusiasm actors came together to do a talk about the acting style that you do on the show.
It was like a Q&A in front of the audience.
Like a Q&A in front of the audience. And the audience was talking, the actors were talking about how their technique is, how they work on it, and so on. And Bob Einstein, you can kind of see on the side, he's got his head down, kind of like doesn't want to be there or something.
Yeah.
But in reality, he's just building up the tension because he steps in and breaks with a joke. So let me go ahead and play that for you guys so you guys get a sense of his style and his technique.
Serious, very serious about what they're doing.
Want to hear a joke?
Oh, geez.
Kids walking down the hallway of his house.
He's doing
They're
one.
screaming in his parents' bedroom. Opens the door, there's his father dressed only in chaps. Mother's dressed in a cheerleading outfit with nothing on her, and they're going at it. He says, Daddy, what's going on? He says, just go to bed, sweetie. I'll tuck you in 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, his father's walking down the hall. He hears screaming in his kid's bedroom. He opens the door. The kid's having sex with his grandmother. He said, Billy, what the hell are you doing? He said, it's not so funny when it's your mother, is it?
I don't know where I heard that joke before.
And he just wins the audience.
It's like legendary comedians on that.
Yeah, and they're all just like, oh, God. And that's just him. That's just how
Larry
he
David.
is.
Larry David didn't even react. He's like, this motherfucker.
He knows. Larry David must have been in a lot of instances where Bob Einstein just takes over by telling a joke. In Curb the Enthusiasm, on that show, he played a character called Marty Funkhauser. Mm-hmm. And we're going to show you a clip where he does a joke again in that raunchy style with Jerry Seinfeld. So here's a clip of Marty Funkhauser meeting Jerry Seinfeld on the show. And Jerry Seinfeld's playing himself.
Exactly.
So it's kind of funny. So here it is.
Jerry Marty Funkhauser.
Hey, Marty, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Want to hear a joke?
Oh, no,
he doesn't want
not
to hear
really.
a joke. We have a read through.
Yeah, we
Let
got
me just get right through it.
Okay.
A woman's very afraid of the size of her opening.
What is she afraid of?
The size of her opening. So she goes to her mother. She says, what am I going to do? I'm so big down there. When I marry Harry, he's going to divorce me. Her mother says, don't worry, sweetheart. It runs in the family. Do what I did when I married your father. Go to the market, get some raw liver, put it in there. He'll never know the difference.
Oh, my God.
So she does. They have 8 hours of sex after their marriage. She wakes up at 10 o'clock. He's gone, but there's a note on her pillow. It says, my darling Harriet, to think that I waited a year to consummate our love relationship makes my heart beat so loud I'm surprised it didn't wake you up. The only reason I'm not here now, darling, is I'm at work to make enough money to buy you a house, a picket fence, we'll have dogs and children.
Oh, this is not so bad.
Oh, yeah, this is great. Will you finish the fucking joke already?
When the 5 o'clock dinner bell rings, I will be home like the winged gossamer of your love in your arms, your loving husband, Harry.
Oh, that's nice.
P.S. Your cunt is in the sink.
Okay, you told your joke. Let's go.
How good is that?
It surprised me. It
great.
surprised me. I had no idea it would be that revolting.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's just him, And I love that he was able to play that type of joke telling into the show.
That's the thing. He seemed like that's how he was regularly, though. Like the way he talked, everything, his acting. He wasn't the best actor, but that's how he really was.
Yeah, that's what, and that's why people loved interviewing him.
Yeah.
If you look up on YouTube, Bob Einstein, look for interviews. He was interviewed on Sirius XM. He was interviewed on QTV, I believe. And on all those interviews, he tells stories. And he does this really good job of being able to break that. Another thing is that Bob Einstein started to perfect something that was very famous, which is known as Super Dave. And a lot of you guys growing up in the 80s know Super Dave.
Yeah, that's like slapstick comedy, parody comedy, where basically it's where he's doing stunts. He's a stunt man, like he's parodying Evel Knievel.
Yeah.
But it's his own character, which I thought his real name was Dave Osborne. That's how long he was doing it.
Yeah, he did it.
I didn't even know his real name was Bob Einstein until later. But the whole point was, it's like he's like a modern day YouTuber, a Vine star, like where they do a lot of editing and they manipulate their videos to get the appeal or funny. And that's what he did. Like he just do dumb ass gags, and he'll put a dummy in there instead of himself, and he'd get hit with. His main one was he'd get hit with the big ass what are those freaking
cars?
No, well he got ran over by a car, plane crashed on him, fell off a building, got hit by a train. But the main one was the wrecking ball. That was his main gig, where he gets hit by a wrecking ball.
Oh,
and he gets basically smashed by one.
And you're so right. He was technically the YouTube artist of the time. You know, because all he was doing was presenting skit ideas.
He was just doing skits before he had his own TV show.
Yeah, before he had his. Remember, he was a comedy writer, and he did produce Red Fox. He shares in one of the interviews a story where, just as an idea, after a Red Fox show, he went outside and did where he got into a race car, and then Lyft picked up the race car and put him into a car crusher. And the car crush began to be getting crushed. The car began getting crushed, and he was getting interviewed while that was happening. And that's where he got the idea of started doing like a concept of Super Dave. And that's when he came to that one show called Bazaar.
Bazaar is when he made a reoccurring role.
Yes, the Bazaar. It was in the 70s where he began to do the reoccurring role. And he says that he announced, "Hey guys, come back next week. We'll do another Super Dave." And the crowd just cheered, and he thought, "Oh, I think I got something here." And he just kept it going and kept that going.
And he also became a reoccurring guest on Late Late with the Dave Letterman show.
Yes,
where he was doing the same thing. He'd just be doing his stunts. It were basically stunts that fail, and that was the whole premise of it. They weren't going to go right.
There's a stunt where he's pretending he's on the top of the Seattle Tower, I believe, in Seattle, Washington, and the Needle. And to my understanding, the way he was describing it was he was getting ready to jump, and the announcer opened the door behind him to check on him, inadvertently pushing him off the ledge. And you see this dummy, which is technically him, falling off the Space Needle. And he describes that's one of the stunts where the wind pushed the dummy into the freeway overpass, and he saw from below, like almost hitting a car.
Yeah, causing a freaking car accident.
But he says he got lucky that nothing really happened. No one really got hurt. But yeah, you almost see these things and think like, oh my gosh, this could got really bad.
Yeah, I like the one where he's riding on a bus and he's playing a piano. He's on top of a bus, and he's saying he's doing that for order to stop a road rage. So he's singing. And then the bus goes under a tunnel, and he just gets taken out by the top of the tunnel.
It's so many little ones. And something that I remember is he also got picked up by Fox for the Super Dave show. And that went on for
4 years?
Yeah, 4 years, 3 seasons. There was 3 seasons that went on for 4 years, from 87 and 91, I believe. Mm-hmm. So that just shows you how popular he really became. He was an amazing comedy writer. He was an amazing skit performer, but Super Dave is really what became a concrete.
Yeah, and then also he had a movie come out that following year called Super Dave Daredevil for Hire. That was his first movie. Everything else before that was TV Super Dave, and he actually made a movie in 1992.
So I want to show you guys a clip of early Bob Einstein doing that type of skit performance. In this skit, you're going to see him. He's actually with Steve Allen. So he's a comedy great for sure back in 1970. And in this character, he comes on the show saying that he's a football player. And you notice how he's kind of bringing in the audience because he just told Steve Allen that he uses nails to stab the other opposing players when he's playing because it's such a rough sport. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, you see the character acting that he's doing and the punchline he pulls you in for.
How else would you employ the nail if it were like an inside slant?
Oh, inside
and you had to prevent him from moving in on the...
Well, you'd do what is a stutter step. You'd stutter and then you jab the man.
With the nail.
Yeah. That's not the only thing. If they think that's funny, it's not any more ridiculous than the powder or the mace that is used by some teams.
Mace?
Yes. Our center last week, when it came down, went over the ball, and he has not been able to see for 6 days.
This is fantastic. This is illegal stuff. I mean, this is not in the rule book.
Does this go on all over the league?
All over the league, throughout the entire Pro Football League. I know that 2 weeks ago I got the shock of my life and a very rude awakening, which I'm sure even the most avid fan is not aware of. I was doing a down and in pattern where I'll go 10 yards down the field and slant in, look over my left shoulder, and this was a very important play. And our quarterback threw the ball to me, and as the ball was coming to me, I got a pain in my ribs, and there was no one around me. I had the touchdown. I fell down, and going off the field, I noticed I had a bullet in my rib.
Saw you in the...
No, it wasn't a fan. It was linebacker Gronowski.
Well, how did you know? Did he have a gun?
Smoke coming from his helmet.
And that's technically what he was doing. He's always trying to play characters. And,
Yeah, he never broke character either.
yeah, he's always that serious role, and just following through with the joke. And it's pretty awesome. Different type of styles. Bob Einstein definitely influenced a lot of comedians. He worked with a lot of big ones. Richard Pryor, Steve Martin. It's pretty amazing, that era, and the people he touched and got the chance to work with. And the influence he had, it was amazing. I'll be honest with you, it's very different to write a comedy skit than be a comedian. Like, have you ever written a comedy skit or?
Yeah, I've written a few. I just never gave them out to the public. Those are my masterpieces.
Yeah, I know. That's the truth. That's the thing. To be able to execute a comedy skit, it's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
especially what he was doing. A lot of his shit took technical, it took stunt advisors and demolitions. Like, they were really crashing things, dude. Like, he was like Super Day characters doing a lot of fucking crashing.
Yeah.
They were crashing planes, cars, trains. So it had to be a stunt coordinator or somebody. It was definitely more to just one man doing a skit,
Yeah. And if you think about the skits you see right now, there's a lot of popular skit actors right now on Facebook, on Instagram, especially on Instagram, on definitely on Snapchat. Vine for a while had it.
Vine had it. That's what started it, really.
A lot of these skit actors or skit comedians, they're imitating, scene breaking from one scene to the next, angles and reaction. And it's because we have so much examples to utilize, to be honest with you. But here we have someone like Bob Einstein, who was already performing in shows and TV and doing it for himself, which is pretty huge, to be honest with you.
But yeah, he's saying that on an interview too, he was doing Super Day for so long where people didn't get tired of it. That's just what they associated him with.
Yeah.
If he came out without a Super Dave hat on, later when he was on, like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Arrested Development, he was playing a different character, but that's what everybody known him as.
Yeah, he did it for so long. But there's a homage that was paid to him when he passed away. We lost him on January 2nd of this year, 2019. He was diagnosed with leukemia. And a lot of comedy, big comedians like Jerry Seinfeld came on and did a little tribute for him because he was on a show.
Yeah, he was also on Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. He was the first comedian to be on that show twice.
Yeah.
He was on the first season, and then he was on because it already came out like 12 seasons.
Yeah. And he was there with Jerry Seinfeld. So Jerry Seinfeld did a homage. I believe it's on Twitter, not on Instagram, but if you want to check it out, just type on Google Jerry Seinfeld, Bob Einstein tribute.
Yeah, he was on season 1, season 9 of the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Yeah, and it's great segments. I totally recommend for you guys to check it out. I think you'll appreciate it. And that just shows you the influence he had. He was just natural. He whatever idea he had while he was shooting, he'll go out of his way to execute it. So I believe on one of those episodes, he just says, "Let me off the car," and that's just off the cuff. He's just being spontaneous, and then the next clip, you see him walking down the side of the road.
It's funny.
That means he must have convinced Jerry Seinfeld.
He said, "I'm gonna have fun. How long are we gonna use? How long are you gonna use of the content?" And he said 8 minutes. He was like, "All right, let me out now. You already got 8 minutes of me."
Yeah, and sure enough, the next scene you see him walking.
He said, "You're not gonna have me for 6 hours and only use 8 minutes."
That's what's so awesome about him, is that he follows through with the jokes, and he was definitely a great comedian. Inspiration to a lot of other comedians out there, especially comedy writers. Comedy writers is just so different. I have enough trouble trying to write down for being a comedian. It's not my world. Imagine doing comedy writing for a sitcom. Or I do know that for writing in a sitcom, it's not just you. You pitch ideas, but it's actually multiple writers.
Yeah, it's multiple writers for sure.
Yeah, they're always competing for other ideas. Yeah.
Exactly. It's always a head writer. It's like a few head writers, but at the end of the day, it's all creativity. if it's funny, it's funny. If it's gonna work, it works.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Bob Einstein is that he definitely went into it, providing these are his ideas and executing them as best as he could, and I loved it. I love every single. It's just so nostalgic, to be honest with you. That's really what it is. You see him on Saturday mornings back in the mid '90s. I remember. It's just
the cartoon. Funny. Yeah, he had a cartoon too.
Yeah, he did. He had a cartoon. I remember seeing it. It was
Super Dave.
So silly. Just slapstick comedy, you know. It's just the character was just loved by everyone. It's just well known. So, and he was a big guy. He was tall.
Yeah, he was like 6'3"?
4, I think. 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, he was up there. He looked. That's the whole point. He looked like an actual stuntman. He had that. That's why he played the football player in that old clip.
Yeah.
And he played a cop. He just had that authoritative look where he was tall and, you know, and he had that voice. His voice always was the same though. That's what's funny.
Yeah, that raspy.
It's like a raspy kind of like he's getting over the cold. Like he had a cough or something. Probably smoked cigarettes his whole life.
I know, right? I think that's the reason. Yeah, you're right. He was so tall. He had that authoritative element to him.
He looked like a cop. He looked like an athlete, and he looked like a damn stuntman.
He just was able to pull your leg. He just bullshitted with you. That's really what he was doing. He was just trying to tease you for you to follow along with his story and then deliver you his punchline, or try to be that character actor that he really was. He's an amazing guy. Definitely going to be missed, I bet, by a lot of comedy writers out there and comedians. And what a time to be alive, to go back to these.
That's kind of fucked up. You say that, and he just died like 20 days ago.
I know, it's sad,
But he was 76. He lived a long life, and he died actually of cancer.
Yeah. What I meant to say is, time to be alive is to be able to go back and see these videos.
It was
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Super Dave. We gotta look. If you don't know Super Dave, you gotta look it up.
Look it up.
A lot of those stunts and shit was funny, and it was like before, like if it reminds you of like the videos, like the Naked Gun. Remember the scene where the dude, like the bad guy, where he's getting like ran over by a car and gets ran over by a marching band. And it's like a bunch. That's like Super Dave before Super Dave.
Yeah, it's true.
Or it was actually after Super Dave. That's where they copied it from.
I bet.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
He ended up just being smashed.
The Austin Powers skit. Also, Austin Powers did some of those.
Yeah, exactly. It's that parody. Super Dave started that.
Naked Guns.
Bob Einstein started that.
Oh man, good stuff. That's another comedian we're going to be talking about from Naked Gun. Oh my gosh, what's his name from Naked Gun?
Nelson. What's his name? Leslie
Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen. How can we not know him? We'll be talking about him in the future for sure. So it was sad news when we heard about Bob Einstein, and we had to schedule him into our segment for us to be able to talk about him. And I'm glad we did. We were able to do it. So for sure, check out his show. Check out his stuff online. Google him. It's definitely something that's so awesome about him.
Yeah, definitely. And we know we got to give our shout outs to our sponsors too for the show. If you have a chance, you have to check out CALB, which is the Cultural Alliance of Long Beach. Definitely check them out. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to showcasing artists and creative types and community and engagement in Long Beach, period. So if you have a chance to get on your phone, follow them on Facebook, facebook.com/Cultural Alliance of Long Beach.
And also Arts, Music, and Culture. That's an organization to promote and curates art, music exhibitions. Follow them on Instagram on Art, Music, and Culture. We want to thank them for sponsoring our place for us to be able to record. And also we have a couple locations that we also sponsor.
Yeah, definitely. We have the Penthouse Lounge, which is in LA, right off Atlantic. Next show we're going to have is going to be on January 31st there. And then also Bottoms Up Bar, which is in Orange County and Staten. And then the next show there is going to be February 9th. But make sure you check out those spots where we do the shows on location. And also the J-Spot Comedy Club, which is going to be on February 16th. That's in LA.
Yes.
So holler at us.
So, Raphael Anthony from Homegrown-Podcast.
Jamari McLean. Make sure y'all keep tuning in. Follow us if you ain't already following us.
Cheers.
Peace and love.